Hi everyone, it's Mary from Kick and Crochet. Today I'm not actually crocheting anything. What I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about designing ripple blankets or waves. So the principle behind a ripple blanket is that you have increases, so it waves, right? At the top of each wave you have stitch increases, and at the bottom of each wave you have stitch decreases. And the key point is that you have to have the same number of decreases as increases. Otherwise, right, your blanket's going to change size. If you have more increases than decreases, your blanket's going to get bigger. If you have more decreases than increases, then your blanket's going to get smaller, right? So kind of a standard way to think about it, I always like to end and start up. So if I'm making a pattern like this, maybe this is 3 stitches work together, right? So this is a 3-stitch decrease, and maybe this is a 3-stitch increase. Make sense, right? So I'm decreasing 3 and I'm increasing 3, or I'm decreasing by 2, right? Because the DC 3 together normally would, it's taking away 2 stitches, and this is increasing by 2 stitches. But then on the end, I'm going to increase by 1 on each side. So this is 3, this is 3, or sorry, this is 2 decreases, this is 2 increases, this is 2 decreases, so you've got 1 increase on each side to counteract that. Does that make sense? So you're going to always begin and end with an increase. So let's talk a little bit about calculating how many stitches you need. So, I don't know why I erased that. In that example that I just showed, maybe I'm making a blanket like this, and this is a decrease, and this is an increase. And you can decide how many stitches you want on each side. I'm not even saying which stitch you're using. It doesn't matter which stitch you use. Maybe this is a double crochet, maybe it's a triple crochet. I'm not drawing it like an actual stitch because it doesn't matter if it's a double crochet or a triple crochet or what have you. It doesn't matter. So I'm just doing lines to represent stitches. So you can decide how many stitches you want in between each peak and valley. Let's say I want to do 5 stitches in between each peak and valley, right? Seems like it'll make a nice blanket. So if I'm calculating how many stitches I need, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this number plus this number, so really it's just this number times 2, and this 1, 2, 3 stitches, right? And this is 1. So 1 stitch plus 5 stitches plus 3 stitches plus 5 stitches, right? This is 1 repeat of the pattern. If I repeat this over and over and over, I will make the blanket that I need. And you don't even have to think about the ends. Just make sure when you start the blanket that you start with an increase, and you'll automatically end with an increase if you do this calculation. So this is going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 stitches per repeat. So you're going to do a multiple of 14 stitches. Does that make sense? And then of course you need to add for your turning chain. So if I was doing a double crochet, I'd have 3 for my turn. So you're going to do this one in multiple of 14 stitches. So let's change it up a little bit. The one thing that I would always suggest is make sure you increase and decrease by an even number of stitches, because if you do it by an odd number of stitches, then your ends, you can't divide that number evenly. So if I wanted to make this pointier, I could do 4 increases up at the top, right? I could do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? A more dramatic reason, or dramatic change. And then my ends would have half of my increases. So I did 4 extra stitches, so I would do 2 extra stitches on each end. And let's say I still did 5 in between. So my repeat would be 5 for this. This is all happening in 1 stitch, so it'd be 1 for that, 5 for this, and then this is 5 stitches, right? 5 for this. So 5, 6, and 10. So now my repeat is 16 stitches. If I change this number, maybe I do 10 stitches in between, well now suddenly I've got 10 plus 1 plus 10 plus 5, so now I've got 26 Does that make sense? Another way you can modify it is if you want a wavier blankie instead of sharp points, you can spread out your increases. So if I want this to be wavier, instead of putting all of my increases in one stitch, I can spread them out. Maybe I'm going to do 2 increases like this and 2 decreases like this. And then my last stitch would have 1 increase here and 1 increase there. So I still have increased by 2 stitches and decreased by 2 stitches. Maybe I still have 5 on each in between. So my count for this would be 5 stitches for this. Now this is worked into 2 stitches. So I have 2 stitches for that. 5 stitches for this. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches for this. So 5 plus 2 is 7, plus 9 is 16. So my repeat would be 16 stitches. Hope this makes sense a little bit. And like I said, you can do these with any variety of stitch that you want. You can do it with puff stitches or whatever. And you can even, take out these things here. I could just do decreases coming down or coming up and decreases coming down, right? I don't even have to do any stitches in between if you want. Experiment, try some things out, figure out what you like, but this is how you calculate how many stitches you need in your starting chain. You want to add the amount in between your tops and your bottoms times 2. So 1 for going up and 1 for going down, the number of stitches at the top and the number of stitches at the bottom. So I hope that's helpful in learning how to design your own ripple or chevron blanket. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get all the new videos, and happy crocheting!